I was skinny fat, and it was the biggest insecurity of my life, being both soft and small at the same time. So, if you are skinny fat, this is exactly what I did to fix it and finally look lean and athletic and feel confident with my shirt off. The first thing you need to do is start training immediately, because when I first started out trying to transform my physique from skinny fat to aesthetic, what I did was for the first 6 months was just diet without even training in the gym. So I was on a diet, I lost 10 kilograms of body weight. But what ended up happening was I just became a skinnier, fatter version of the already skinny fat person that I was. Because you can lose body weight, and the body weight doesn't necessarily have to come all from fat. It can come from both fat and muscle. And when you aren't training in the gym, you're almost certainly losing muscle whilst also losing fat at the same time. And the biggest part of the reason why you're skinny fat in the first place is because you have low muscle mass. So what we do not want to do is lose even more of the already limited muscle mass you have on your frame right now. Instead, we want to make sure that you're increasing the muscle mass as quickly as you possibly can. That is going to fix your skinny fat physique so much more than losing any weight will. And what I always struggled with, and why I think I didn't even go to the gym for that initial 6 months, was because I was just scared of starting out at the gym. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no one to go with. I had no support network to do it with. And what I want to tell you is just start, please, because you don't want to be in the same position where I was, where I just wasted half an entire year that I could have been progressing so much faster. And if that is you right now, I have all the information you need to know. I have 3, 4, 5, 6 day training splits that you can just copy and implement into your own routine. I have all the training, nutrition, guidance that you will ever need in your entire life set out in my program in the Skinny Fat Solution. I think the link should be in the description below. And it is completely free for a limited time now. So just get in there. I want to see as many of you as possible join the program, and I look forward to seeing you inside. So the reason I say you should start training immediately is because you just need to get muscle onto your frame. As I said, the reason you are skinny fat is because you have low muscle mass, and you simply need to pack on muscle, grow muscle, build muscle on your frame for your physique to actually look aesthetic, for it to look good, to look like those guys at the beach, to look like those fitness models. You don't become a fitness model just because you have low body fat. You become a fitness model because you're low body fat, but you've got the muscle underneath it as well. The thing with adding muscle mass onto your frame as well is that it can actually reduce your body fat percentage. So you can just add lean mass to your body, which is essentially just weight that isn't fat on your body. And if you can increase the amount of lean mass, but your fat mass stays the same, the fat mass that you have will start to occupy a relatively lower amount of your entire body weight, simply because you've just added lean mass and added muscle. So while you might not have even necessarily lost any body fat, your body fat percentage can actually decrease simply because you've added muscle. And that's what's happened to me. That's what's happened to a lot of guys in my Skinny Fat Solution program. The last point about why building muscle is so important is because building muscle actually increases what's called your basal metabolic rate, or your metabolism. So when you have more muscle on your body requires more energy to just survive. So every day, your body will burn a certain amount of calories or energy just to keep itself alive, just to perform its day-to-day bodily upkeep functions. And if you have more muscle on your body, what that means is your body requires more energy to sustain that higher amount of muscle mass. So if you're someone that burns more calories every day just by existing, because you have higher amounts of muscle, what that means is it's going to be easier to get leaner because you're just burning so many more calories. And to give you an example, I can eat up to 3,000 calories right now and still be at maintenance or almost in a deficit. Whereas back when I started 7 years ago, I was eating 2,000 calories a day and I would almost be gaining weight. So it just goes to show that your energy expenditure per day can change so much depending on how much muscle you have on your frame. The second thing you need to do is cut first. So as a skinny fat guy, it's very ambiguous as to whether you should be bulking or cutting, because bulking would seem to solve the part of the equation that is your low muscle mass, whereas cutting would solve the part of the equation that is your high body fat. And unfortunately, you can't bulk and cut at the same time. You need to be doing one or the other. But what isn't spoken about is the fact that you can actually build muscle and lose fat at the same time, especially when you are a beginner to all of this stuff, which I assume you are. To give you a definitive answer as to whether you should be bulking or whether you should be cutting, I will tell you right now, you should be cutting. And I'll tell you why. But first, let me just explain what cutting is. So cutting is being in a calorie deficit. So every day your body will burn an amount of calories. And on average, that's around 2,500 calories per day for a male. So for the average male to be in a calorie deficit, they would have to be eating less than 2,500 calories every day. And you can just track your calories using MyFitnessPal to get a gauge of how many calories you're actually eating every day. And that way you can make sure you're in a calorie deficit. When you're eating less than you're burning every day, what it means is your body has to now latch on to the fat reserves on your body in order to actually just sustain itself. Because what your body is doing when it's burning that 2,500 calories per day is it's using that energy to make sure your body is surviving, to make sure your bodily functions are running smoothly. And so your body still needs to pull that 2,500 calories from somewhere, even if you're not feeding it that 2,500 calories. So what it does is it will pull on your body's fat reserves, because the fat on your body stores energy. And when you're in deficits, your body needs to make up for that energy deficit somehow. And what it will do is burn fat for that energy that it's not getting from food. So the reason that you should be cutting first as opposed to bulking is because your goal right now is to get leaner. You're probably insecure about how much fat you're holding in your lower stomach area or in your chest area. And so what we want to do for you is try and alleviate those insecurities as quickly as we possibly can. And the quickest and most surefire way to be able to do that is by cutting. Because when you cut, as I just said, you begin to drop fat and you'll be getting leaner, feeling better, feeling more confident instantly. And that's what we want. Whereas if you're bulking and eating more food, what can happen is, sure, you might be building muscle, but you're also gaining fat at the same time. And if you're getting fatter, that is the complete antithesis of what your goals are. You don't want to get fat. You don't want to be looking big or puffy. You want a lean, athletic body. You want to feel more confident. And if you're getting fatter by bulking, then you'll feel actually worse because of that. When you cut as well, you see instant results. And what those instant results are that you are getting leaner. You're building muscle and you're losing fat at the exact same time. And so when you look in the mirror or when you have a photo taken of you, you actually think to yourself, because you can literally see it. Whoa, holy shit. I'm actually looking like a hell of a lot better compared to where I was, say, 2 months ago. And when you can see that, you begin this positive feedback loop in your head, because you realize that the habits that you've been implementing are actually working. So every time you're stepping into the gym and doing a hard workout, every time you're sticking to your meal plan, every time you're doing the things that you don't want to do, you're seeing that that hard work is actually paying off, because you're getting closer and closer to achieving your dream body. And what it means is you're more likely to stick to those habits, like going to the gym, sticking to your meal plan, eating clean, all of that stuff, because you're seeing the results that have come from it. Whereas if you're bulking, you might be doing these exact same habits. You might be sticking to the meal plan. You might be going to the gym consistently. You might be eating clean as well. But because you're getting fatter while you do all these good habits, you're so much less likely to stick to those habits, because you're not seeing the results that you actually want from doing these habits. And what happens is, as I've seen time and time again, guys will just quit the gym. They'll quit their meal plan. They'll quit all of this stuff because they look in the mirror, they see a photo that's taken of them, and all they see is that they've just gotten fatter from where they initially begun. And they become disheartened, they become discouraged, and they give up. And that is not what we want. The reason I say you should cut first as well is because you need to be clear on your strategy. So what happened to me for a while was that I would be in two minds as to whether I should be cutting or whether I should be bulking. Because like you, I was skinny fat, and I had those two conflicting ideas where I wanted to build muscle and I thought that requires bulking. But at the same time, I wanted to lose fat and I thought that requires cutting. So I was in these two minds. And what it meant was that some days I would wake up, look in the mirror and think, oh, I'm looking a bit fat. I really want to drop some weight. I really want to drop some fat. So I know what I'll do. I'll go start cutting again. So I would go throughout the day. I'd be eating low calorie foods. I'd be trying to manage my calorie intake. And then I'd go to the gym late afternoon. And I'd go to the gym and I'd be like, oh, I'm feeling a bit weak. Why can't I lift as much as I did last week? Why are the weights that I'm lifting right now feeling so much heavier than they normally do? Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll start bulking now so that I can gain strength, so that I can gain muscle. And so I'd go home that night, eat a massive dinner. And in literally the space of one day, I had gone from cutting to bulking. And I did that for like 2 years straight. And what that meant was I made zero progress because I'd be making progress in this direction. And then because I'd changed my ideology, I'd go back to this direction. I'd just be going like this and this and this and this and this, to the point where I just stayed in the exact same position for 2 years straight. And so what I don't want you to do is have no clear strategy as to what you should be doing with your diet and nutrition, because that is the worst possible thing that you can do, because you will make zero progress just like I did. So what you should be doing as an action step is to be in a calorie deficit of 300 to 500 calories. So if you're the average male and burn 2,500 calories every day, that's eating 2,000 to 2,200 calories every day. What I want you to do as well is hit your protein targets. You need to be eating 1 gram per pound of body weight. So if you're 170 pounds, you should be eating 170 grams of protein every day. And if you do this whilst training in the gym at the same time, and you adopt an actual training routine, you will build muscle and lose fat at the same time. In as little as 2 months, you will see noticeable abs. You will see your shoulders become way more defined. You will see your waistline begin to tighten. And all it takes is literally 2 months, because when I first started out at the gym, it's exactly what happened to me. I made a 0 to 1 transformation. I went from literally a kid that would be bullied at school for how fat I was to literally being the most jacked guy at school. And I wasn't even that jacked. And similar transformations have happened for the guys in the Skinny Fat Solution program. And literally all it takes is 2 to 3 months, 60 to 90 days. So again, if you want direct guidance from me, if you want the diet plans, the training plans, the mindset hacks that I've given to the students that are inside my Skinny Fat Solution program, go check it out now. It's literally free. So I hope to see you inside. And if you enjoyed this video or learned anything from it, please consider subscribing as well. We're getting to 20K subs soon, and I'll see you in the next one.